Interstate 485. Yeah, alright, today we're going to be talking about I-485 in North Carolina, and this is the circular road or ring road around the city of Charlotte, and it connects multiple routes. Let's have a look at the map. As we can see, the road forms a complete circle, and this is actually the first complete circle road I've actually known about. And I've driven on it on my one and only visit to Charlotte. This is the Xavier 456, and you are watching NCDOT Provincial Lovin. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and smash the like button, and if you really like it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. I post new highway content every week. Alright, I must remind you that you can request your exit or intersection down in the comments below. Next week we're going to be talking about I-295, even though a section of it is under construction. Alright, let's have a look at the inner loop of I-485. So we're going to start here at exit 67, where the mile markers revert back to 0, and we're at the I-77, US 21 and 2 North 85 interchange, and it's signed for Columbia and Charlotte, and those are 77's controls. We are signed 485 inner to South 85, and we get the control city of Huntersville, which is a suburb of Charlotte, and we're only going to be getting 3 suburbs of Charlotte on our run. Although it'd be better to have a control city for South 85, which I will get to later. Here's the first mile marker with 0 on it that I could find, and we're at mile 0.4, and this is pretty much the beginning of the circle. Our first exit is for NC49 for South Tryon Street, and we're only going to be getting Kentucky treatments for NC routes and not any particular control city, which I don't like. Here we're meeting NC160 for Steel Creek Road, another Kentucky treatment. Here I'm going to be showing all major NC state highways we're going to be meeting with. And here we also got an exit for West Boulevard coming up. Later on, we meet with US 29 and US 74, also getting a Kentucky treatment of Wilkinson Boulevard. But this is the exit to Charlotte Douglas International Airport, as we can see right there. I flew out of Charlotte Douglas on my one and only visit, and we're coming to I-85 in just a little bit. And here we have the ramp for it, and it's getting control cities of Spartanburg. No, that should be Greenville SC, because that is bigger than Spartanburg. And I say SC to differentiate it from Greenville NC, and Greensboro is a good choice. I'm glad that's there. At this very same interchange, I-485 North is actually now signed for Statesville. Why that? Now they're just favoring I-77 North, and Statesville is not control city worthy. Because, as I've said, we should not be signing just where we meet in interstates when the town itself is real small. You should be signing something like Charleston, West Virginia, or Wytheville. Not this. Here we're meeting with NC27, and it's also getting a Kentucky treatment of Mount Holly Road. And we're also going to be coming up to NC16, and this one is actually getting a control city, Newton. And I think a better choice there would probably be Hickory. And we're also getting a Kentucky treatment of Brookshire Boulevard for the southbound section as it goes into Charlotte. And here we're meeting with NC24, signed just for Harris Boulevard. And we're now also coming up to I-77, signed for Charlotte and Statesville. The only reason we put Statesville back on the 85 interchange. No, sign Wytheville or Charleston. And then at this very same interchange, now 485 is signed inner for Matthews, which is another suburb. And this particular suburb is where we meet US 74 for the second time. And here we're meeting with I-85 for the second time, and it's signed North Greensboro and South Spartanburg, the same thing that was on the other interchange. No, that should say Greenville SC because it's bigger, or if you could make a case, you can go with Atlanta, but still you should favor Greenville. And now we are pulled through 485 inner for Matthews. And here we're meeting US 29 again, this time signed for Charlotte and Concord. We're also coming up to NC 49, which is signed for University City Boulevard and Harrisburg. Hey, NCDOT, why are we in Pennsylvania? We aren't doing Shaming PennDOT. That series is over. Here we're meeting NC24 and NC27 on their concurrency eastbound, and they're signed for Albemarle, which I think is a good choice. And here we're meeting US 74, again, the reason we signed Matthews, and signed west for Charlotte and east for Monroe. Monroe has a population of over 30,000, and yeah, I would say that's okay. Here we're meeting NC16 again, this time getting signed for Providence Road and Weddington. Why Weddington? That is not significant at all. You should instead be signing Waxhaw. That's where NC16 ends. And here we're meeting the beginning of US 521, signed south as just Johnston Road South. Bruh. And Johnston Road North is also an exit here, and it's not a particular route. And we're also getting a pull through Inter 485 to I-77. And this I-77 interchange is back where we started. The last exit we'll show you this way is for NC51, just signed for Pineville, Matthews Road. I should have also mentioned that our control city from Matthews was Pineville, and this was the reason we signed Pineville. And here we come back to the interchange with I-77, signed for Columbia and Charlotte, and we're pulled through for Huntersville. And now let's turn around and talk about the outer loop of I-485. So here we are at the interchange of I-77 and US 21 for Columbia and Charlotte heading the other way, and now our mileage will be counting down. We're now signed 485 outer for Pineville, and we're only signed for Pineville for just 2 exits. Why just 2 exits? No, you should be signing something else like Matthews. And here we're meeting NC51, the only reason we kept Pineville back there, and it's signed south for Pineville Matthews Road and north for the same thing. And here we're also coming up to US 521 for Johnston Road, and this is the only sign I could actually find for this exit because there's a whole bunch of construction going on up at the exit itself, so I couldn't find any signage there. And at this exit, outer 485 is actually signed for Matthews now, and that is a good choice. And the reason that we signed Matthews is because we meet with US 74, which is getting signed for Charlotte and Monroe. And here's what it looks like heading westbound on 74. We're now signed 485 outer for Huntersville. And we're signing Huntersville because that is a northern suburb, and that's where we meet with I-77 for the second time. And here we meet with NC24 and 27 on their concurrencies signed for Albemarle as was before, and that's a good choice. Here we're meeting NC49 for Harrisburg, NC, not Harrisburg, PA, and University City Boulevard, and we're also coming up to US 29, which is signed for Charlotte and Concord. And now we get the interchange to I-85, our first one this way, and it also gives information to 77 South for Spartanburg and Greensboro. Again, no, that should say Greenville, C and Greensboro. And we're signed 485 outer to 77 North for Huntersville. Better we just have Huntersville on there because no way I want to see 77's control city on there. And here we meet I-77, which is signed for Statesville and Charlotte. No, that should be Charleston and Charlotte or something. And we're signed 485 outer for Pineville now, as that's back where we started. Here you meet US 24 on its own, and it's just signed Harris Boulevard. Here you meet with NC 16 getting signed for Newton and Brookshire Boulevard, and we also got NC 27 for Mount Holly Road coming up soon. Here we get the second exit to I-85, and also with ramps to US 29 and US 74, and we're getting Greensboro, Spartanburg, and Wilkinson Boulevard. Why don't we have any mention of the airport here? That doesn't make sense. But anyways, Greensboro and Greenville SC, thank you. And here is exit 1 before we revert back to exit 67, and we get NC 49 for South Tryon Street. And our exit for 77 and US 21 is coming right up. And here we are back where we started, with I-77 and US 21 signed for Columbia and Charlotte, and I-485 outer signed for Pineville, where it should be Matthews. Alright, that is it for I-485. Next, we're gonna go to the 95, children. Thank you very much, and I will see you next week. May peace be with you.